Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Today we're going to be talking about why some foods are hard to quit and tips on how to move from there to healthier eating. I got an email today from this wonderful woman who was honest and asked, I'm really addicted to white bread and to candy, and I have PCOS. What can I do about that? What can I do to eat healthier? I'm finding it extremely hard to do. And I loved that she asked, because a lot of people will gloss over that part. Like, they'll message me and they'll say, yeah, that's fine. I eat great. But what do I do for A, B, or C? What herbs and supplements? Because I just want to go straight to the pills. And I understand that it's real. It's real for people that these foods are very addicting. That's why we have so many of the health issues that we have. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. I'm constantly having to work through these things as well. So let's go ahead and jump right to it. Why some foods are hard to quit, some bad foods are hard to quit, and some tips on what you can do about that. So first, let's talk about kind of the importance why this is even something to talk about or to be concerned about. Is there's a lot of different fertility issues that the choices in your food the choices in what you're eating can actually make a difference for you. So if you're someone who is experiencing endometriosis, there's dietary changes that can help with the pain of that. If you're experiencing PCOS, insulin resistance can be completely managed through diet. If you're pre-diabetic, again, completely manageable through diet. Now, these things are important because getting pregnant is our first step, but staying pregnant can also be an issue with a lot of these types of fertility issues. And if you're managing them through diet, you have to continue managing them through pregnancy. So having cravings and not having control over them can make things a lot harder. So let's jump right into it. Some of the foods that are most addicting are going to be the simple carbohydrate foods, the sugary foods such as cakes, breads, candies, things like that, soda. And I think they're so addicting. There's two reasons. I think they're so addicting. One, because of the sugar, and sugar is so addicting. I've read something that was saying that it's more addicting than even heroin, and heroin users have rehabilitation support that they can get, right? So a couple different things about this. The other thing about these foods is there's chemicals added that really help to stimulate your senses, that make these foods addicting, such as MSG. If you ever notice why like Doritos taste so good or Cheetos taste so good, I talk about Cheetos a lot because that's something since I was a kid I was addicted to. It's because of the MSG. There's a chemical in it that excites your brain, these excitotoxins. So we have all these things working kind of against us. And for some of us, it can be like, why can't I kick this? Why is it so hard? So here's some ideas on how you can. So just understanding that there are chemical reasons that these foods are so addicting. So the first is to kind of take it on and make a 2-week challenge out of it. A couple of reasons I say 2-week challenge. The first is it's something you can wrap your head around. I feel like anyone could do 2 weeks of something, whether it's I'm not going to eat processed food for 2 weeks. I'm going to not eat white bread or candy or added sugars to my diet. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just pick something. And I'm not going to do that for 2 weeks. What happens is in that 2-week period of time, I find, especially for sugar, that it is enough time to kick the habit. The other thing is you can start craving other things. So if during this 2-week challenge, you're adding something as well that's healthful, such as I'm going to have a salad a day or whatever it is, you'll actually start to crave that new food and that new habit that you've added to your day. The other idea is to remove the foods from your house that you're wanting to kick, that you're wanting to get rid of. If you're wanting less sugar, don't have it in the house. Even though I don't buy Cheetos, any of that, if it was in my house, I probably would eat it once in a while, even though I do not want to. So what I've done is I've replaced it with an alternative. I personally use an alternative called Pitos, which give me that crunchy, they got that cheesy, all that, because I recognize, that is one thing that I really, really love. So for you, what is the one thing for you? It might be white bread, it might be candy or whatever. There are so many alternatives now that actually are good, that are actually fluffy, that are actually crunchy, that are actually great, that you can replace that with. So take it out of the house and then replace it with an alternative. The other thing to think about too is I find this happens with a lot of women, is to make sure that you're eating enough food. I feel that most women actually do not eat enough food. They're living in a perpetual diet. So always being low on calories, always skipping meals. And these types of things can cause issues for your blood sugar, your insulin resistance, for everyone. And if you're doing that because you're wanting to lose weight, it's counterproductive. If you're in a calorie deficiency, like constantly, your body's going to actually hold on to more fat because it is in an emergency mode of, she is not eating enough. I'm going to hold on to every single thing that I can instead of feeling like your body feeling safe enough to let go of that weight. So making sure that you're eating enough calories. Also making sure you're eating enough healthy fats. I find if I'm not eating enough fats, I start to crave sugars. And that's another way that I kind of know, oh, I need to check this. So the last part is to remember that eating healthy is psychological. There are a lot of reasons that we eat foods that we know are bad for us, or that we know, that we shouldn't be eating. And I don't mean it to be like that, like, well, you're bad because you eat this. No, you have to understand this is psychological. These foods are very addicting. And we also use food for so many other things rather than nourishment. So if we're feeling sad, or we're feeling bored or depressed or whatever it is, for some of us, food is very comforting and that's our go-to. Now, if you're able to recognize that and to be aware of that, you'll start noticing triggers. So if your trigger might be, oh, I've been working for 3 hours on this project and it is boring, I need to go get some chips, or I need to go eat a candy. Just kind of be aware of your triggers, because that's when you're going to be able to make some other choices at that time. I know I have a trigger that is, if I start craving like some type of bubbly drink, that means I haven't been drinking enough water. So that's, now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, yep, that's right. I actually am behind on my water drinking today. I personally get cravings when I get bored. So when that happens, I just, becoming aware of it is very helpful. And then you're able to kind of pivot or just make another option when you're going to, going to check out what's in the fridge. I talk about all these, I go through all these things too. This is not like a lecture. This is like a support. We're having a support meeting right now because we're all human. This happens to all of us. So just understanding your triggers. So I hope you found that helpful. It's kind of a side topic, an underlying topic as it pertains to your fertility, but it's a pretty big one because of lifestyle factors and healthy eating being so important, and kind of the underlying of what you're going to need for fertility, but for your pregnancy as well. There are so many different things linked to having a healthier pregnancy and giving birth to a healthy baby to term that, you need to start thinking about, because the whole plan here, everything we're doing is for you to be pregnant. So having that healthy baby is everything, part of everything that you're doing now and that you will be doing once you're pregnant. So having this kind of under control before that time would be really helpful, especially for those of you, sorry, I put chapstick on, especially for those of you experiencing PCOS, endometriosis, some of these things that have to be managed into pregnancy and that have a higher rate of miscarriage if they're not managed. So I hope you found some of these tips helpful. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of these were something that you're going to try, or if you have tips for other people on what has worked for you to help you overcome your thing, your form of Cheetos or your form of candy bar, whatever it is. What has worked for you that you could suggest to others? That would be awesome. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Cool. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes if you do. I have my timer on because I'm trying to keep them fast. I can just talk forever. So I noticed some of my videos were getting pretty long. So I was like, all right, let's try to keep this under 10 minutes. And it worked. So someone says, hello, how are you doing? So if you guys have any questions about today's class or natural fertility, I'm more than happy to answer them to help out. Let's see. Okay. Great. All right. Well, I hope you found today helpful, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.